Hello, Giants fans. So the draft is finally concluded. Kind of a big relief, honestly. It's been such a drooling process to wait for the whole draft to finish, and just for the draft to come just took a long time. It felt like it was like 3 or 4 months of long anticipation. And honestly, ever since the Giants draft, not the Giants, the Giants bye week in like week 9 or 10, I've been looking forward to the draft because I figured we were gonna have a very high pick. We ended up with number 6. And that's where we will start with number 6, Daniel Jones, the quarterback from Duke. I went over the first 4 picks for the Giants, I believe, already, but we'll just review some and go over some of the scouting report and some notes on some players that I wrote down. So Daniel Jones. I did feed you guys some false information, I believe, when I first did the Daniel Jones reaction, and I said that they could have easily got him at 17, and I apologize for that because according to Dave Gettleman, who, by the way, has never lied to us before, may I have you know, he did say that he is positive, or whatever he said, he was, sure that there were 2 teams that wanted him. I believe it was the Broncos and the Redskins. So Gettleman did not believe that his quarterback, Daniel Jones, was going to be there at 17. That's a problem that a lot of us had, and that was part of my viewpoint was, why didn't you just get Josh Allen, number 6, and then get Daniel Jones, number 17? Well, there's my answer, because apparently 2 other teams wanted him, being the Broncos at number 10 and the Redskins at number 15. So that's why Daniel Jones went early at number 6. So with that being said, I apologize for giving you guys some wrong information because, I'm not trying to do that, obviously. So with Daniel Jones, what I saw, he's a really good athlete, underrated athlete. People make the Eli Manning comparison. In some ways, he is Eli Manning, but on an athleticism standpoint, not even close. Daniel Jones is a very good athlete. I give him the bump there over Eli Manning any day for athleticism. His short accuracy and decision making, pretty good. Sometimes he stares down the same receiver too much, and his accuracy on the deep ball is kind of shaky and a bit concerning, but hopefully that gets settled out. Where are we at? So average arm strength. I was a big Drew Lock fan, obviously. Drew Lock's arm strength was incredible. Dwayne Haskins had a pretty decent arm as well. I don't know where Daniel Jones' arm matches up against those other 2 guys, but it's definitely not Drew Lock. He's definitely closer to Dwayne Haskins, but I still feel like Haskins has the better arm than Daniel Jones. So he's elusive in the pocket. If you watch him play, he definitely knows how to maneuver in the pocket, which is something our current quarterback does not do very well. And, Daniel Jones is going to give us a new aspect at quarterback, a guy that can escape the pocket and make throws on the run and do it, consistently, which is something we do not see from Eli Manning. So that's something to be excited about. Definitely his teammates at Duke failed him for sure, whether it was the offensive line or just the drops from all the receivers. If you watched the video I put up, which I'm sure most of you have, of the montage of Daniel Jones making NFL caliber throws and runs, a lot of those NFL caliber throws were dropped, and it sucks for Daniel Jones. Doesn't go on his stats, and it just makes him look worse than he really is. So that's not good at all. A thing I love about Daniel Jones is he's not afraid to take a hit and make a throw. There are some throws in his highlights that you can tell he is about to get obliterated. He does not let it affect him. He can have a 250-pound defensive end running right at him. He's not scared. He still stands in there and makes the throw. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, but that's what you get with Daniel Jones. But I give him the credit for having the balls to stay in there and making the throws when you know he's going to get hit. Of course, he's mature. That's something that a lot of NFL executives and scouts rave about with Daniel Jones. We all know he's mature. Good coaching. Dave Cutcliffe and Peyton Manning, he swears by this guy being Daniel Jones. He says Daniel has a real advantage because he was coached by Coach Cut. So obviously Peyton Manning loves the coach that coached Daniel Jones. And Peyton Manning kind of puts in a good word for Daniel Jones. So you always got to trust Peyton Manning. He's one of the smartest football people around. I don't know if he's saying this because Coach Cutcliffe wanted him to say it. I'm sure Peyton Manning is just being genuinely honest about Daniel Jones and expects him to be a good pro. So, hey, if Peyton Manning says it, that's some optimism right there. He has a good throwing motion, a quick release. That's something you need to see in the NFL is a quick release. And, my first reaction would have been, terrible for this, and it kind of was the first night, and I regret saying a lot of those things about Daniel Jones. But this guy is my quarterback. He's going to be my quarterback, and I'm going to root my ass off for him, and I hope he plays really well for the Giants. And I said as long as he's wearing a Giant uniform, I'll be rooting for him, and I wish him the best. I would never root against a Giant player. But overall, for this first pick, number 6 overall, I would give it a B-. I said B, not D. B as in boy, minus. Obviously it sucks there with having Josh Allen on the board. But the thing is, it's not guaranteed that Josh Allen's going to be this Hall of Fame pass rusher. We're not sure. It's just obvious that Josh Allen's probably the better prospect than Daniel Jones, and it hurts to pass up on a guy like that when your team keeps Eli Manning to compete next year, but then they pass on a pass rusher who would be a day one impact player. And Mike Francesa said the same thing, and I usually don't agree with Mike Francesa, especially nowadays, because his takes now are not all that great. But he did say, what's the point of keeping Eli Manning around if you're not going to give him a contender for next season? If they kept Eli and drafted Josh Allen and Dexter Lawrence and gave him 2 good defenders, even DeAndre Baker in the first round, there's a good reason to keep Eli Manning. I don't see how a Daniel Jones holding a clipboard is going to be beneficial for Eli Manning playing quarterback for the Giants next year. So from that standpoint, it doesn't make too much sense. You can kind of tell the Giants are in rebuild mode at this point, and they're probably worrying about 2020 because what's most likely going to happen is the whole Kurt Warner thing we saw with Eli Manning back in 2004, and I'm assuming that Eli's going to start the season, and if he slips up or doesn't play well for a while, the Giants are going to look for a reason to get Daniel Jones into the ball game, and I'm fine with that. I want to see Daniel Jones play. I'm excited to see him play. We know what Eli Manning has at this point in his career. It sucks that he has to go out like this, but hey, it's a full circle. That's how Eli came into the league, and that's probably how he's going to come out of the league. So it's kind of funny how it goes around like that. I always said I wish Eli Manning just retired after last season and made this a lot easier for us, but at this point, unless the Giants are undefeated or have 1 or 2 losses, they're probably going to look for a reason to bench Eli Manning at some point in the season. So that's unfortunately how it's probably going to end for his Giants career. But hey, Daniel Jones is the future, and we got to look at what he has as a quarterback, and I think that would be the smart move for the Giants going forward. Draft pick number 2 and number 17 overall in the draft is the defensive tackle from Clemson, Dexter Lawrence. He's at 6'4", 342 pounds. That's a massive human. Very strong guy. He can push the line, do a lot of good things there. Pat Shurmur did compare him to Linval Joseph. I said that last video, and Shurmur did coach Linval Joseph, and Linval Joseph was a Giant at one point, so there's a lot of connections there. He was a top 5 national recruit and a North Carolina Player of the Year in high school. As a junior, he was first team All-ACC. 10 sacks in 3 years at Clemson. Part of the problem with me, I wanted an edge rusher that can get to the quarterback, and the Giants take a guy who had 10 sacks in 3 years. But we know that rushing the passer is not Dexter Lawrence's his strength. It's not it. He's there to push the line and make the outside guys' jobs easier, and absolutely stop the run. He'll definitely be a great run stopper for the Giants, I would think. 131 total tackles in 3 years at Clemson, and that's all I have written down for him. For this grade, I would probably give Gettleman a B for this pick. It wasn't the biggest need for the Giants, but in terms of what Dexter Lawrence is going to be in the NFL, he's going to be a good player. I'm pretty confident in that. I just don't know what kind of impact he's going to have on this team. We obviously wanted a guy that can get to the quarterback. The Giants were 1 freaking pick away from Brian Burns, and that hurt when the Panthers took him. But that's just the Panthers sticking it to old Dave Gettleman. No, just kidding. But yeah, I think Dexter Lawrence is going to be a fine pro. I just don't think he'll be a huge impact player right away. We might have to wait. He wants to lose fat, put on muscle, all that kind of good stuff. And I'm excited to see what he's going to be as a pro, though. I think, it's a pretty safe pick. We know Gettleman's a pretty safe pick kind of guy, and that's what he's been most of his career as GM until we saw him pick Daniel Jones, which is quite the risk. But he fell in love guys, so that's why he made the pick. So yeah, I do expect Dexter to be a good pro, and he should be starting from day one, right in the middle on the defensive line. So I'm interested to see how it plays out in Week 1, but I do expect him to be our defensive tackle in Week 1. At pick number 30 via a trade, we obviously did not have the 30th pick in the draft. The Giants took DeAndre Baker, cornerback from Georgia. The Giants did trade a second-round pick, number 37 overall, a fourth-round pick, and a fifth-round pick to move up 7 whole spots. I really hope it's worth it, because if not, that would look pretty stupid. But I like this pick. Baker is considered the best cover corner in this draft by many people, including Dave Gettleman himself, hence the reason he moved up those 7 spots to secure him. He hadn't allowed a receiving touchdown in 2 years. Pretty damn impressive. He's aggressive and cocky. He has a cocky personality. That's a good mix for a potential shutdown corner. 7 interceptions in 3 seasons. Had a 4.52 40 time, and that did turn some people off. They figured he'd be a little bit faster, but he has long strides and pretty long arms to make up for that kind of stuff. Last season won the Jim Thorpe Award for best defensive back in the nation. That's very impressive. And another guy the Giants took later was a runner-up in that for that award as well. We'll get to him later. But yeah, I talked about this pick the other day. I like it a lot. He's a very talented player. I mean, I didn't watch a ton of DeAndre Baker, I'm not going to lie, but from everything I've seen, he's a very good athlete, and just he's a dog. You know, Dave Gettleman talks about getting dogs on the defense. He's exactly what you want at corner. He will talk that talk and walk the walk, and he's just a good player, man. I really am excited to see what he can do. I think right now he'll be slated in at our third cornerback, because I do expect Julian Love to be our slot corner. I do think of DeAndre Baker as more of an outside guy. He'd probably be behind Janoris Jenkins and Sam Beal to start the season, but he'll probably get on the field at some point, whether it's due to injuries or guys not playing well, or just, 4 wide receiver sets and stuff like that. But he'll get on the field for sure. I'm very excited to see what he can do in the NFL, and hopefully one day he'll be a lockdown corner that can shut down one side of the field. That's what you got to hope for with a guy like him. So, hopefully Gettleman's right about him being the best shutdown corner in this draft, and if so, that's a tremendous pick at number 30 overall. At number 95, we have OShane Ximena, defensive end / outside linebacker, Old Dominion. For the last pick, by the way, I meant to say that's an A minus grade for me for DeAndre Baker. I said A minus because I like the player a lot, but it took a lot of assets to get him. If he ends up being a good player, then yeah, that's an A plus pick right there. But right now, looking at it, they had to give up a decent amount of assets to get there, so I have to give him the A minus for that. But back to OShane. So a lot of people call him the X-Man now. I've noticed that in the comments section. A lot of people going by X-Man and stuff like that. That's cool. I'm down with that. 6'3", 253 pounds. Led his team in tackles for a loss and sacks every season he's been there. In 2018, he caused 4 fumbles, 18.5 tackles for a loss, and 12 sacks total. He's a very athletic player who, if developed correctly, can become a productive edge rusher in the NFL. I don't know what his ceiling is as a pro, but he could be pretty damn good. I think he's a guy that can get over 8 sacks a season in his prime, maybe between 8 and 12 sacks a season, which is a very productive NFL pro. So I am excited to see what OShane becomes in his NFL career. Gettleman probably liked him for this reason as well. He's apparently a student of the game and likes to be coached. That's according to his scouting report on NFL.com. I take that as a pretty reliable source. But yeah, man, you guys know I love OShane if you watched my videos before. I was very thrilled with this pick when they got him. And the Giants waited a long time to make a pick between 30 and 95. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to guess how many picks that is, but that's a lot of picks. Is it 65 maybe? If not, I'll sound pretty stupid, but I think that's 65 picks right there. So they waited a long time to get a guy there, and I'm very happy OShane fell that long. I wanted him throughout this whole draft process, and the Giants came away with him at 95. Awesome pick. They needed it. I give them the A+ for need and value for this pick. I think, he fell longer than he was supposed to in most people's minds, and they have a needed edge rusher, obviously. I think he's going to be put at outside linebacker. They already have Lorenzo Carter in year 2, Marcus Gold in there as well, and I'm blanking on the other dude's name. Oh, my God. The guy from the Cardinals, I forget his name. Oh, Kareem Martin. They have him as well at outside linebacker. So there's about 4 guys that can play outside linebacker for this team between Kareem Martin, OShane Ximena, Marcus Golden, Lorenzo Carter, and they got to compete for 2 spots. So that'll be a fun competition, see how that plays out in the preseason. I don't think anyone has an edge over the other, so these guys going to battle it out, stuff like that. It'll be fun to watch. But, yeah, I love this pick overall. Number 95, OShane Ximena. At pick number 108, someone asked me a few videos ago or a few commentaries ago in that question video of who are some of the cornerbacks I like in this draft, and I listed Julian Love as one of the first guys because I love myself some Julian Love. So if you look into him, he is a master at knocking away passes. He sticks to his man like glue. When you watch his highlights, it's pretty impressive. He might be a slot corner in the NFL. That's what most people have him down as, and it makes sense. He was a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award and was beaten out by current teammate DeAndre Baker, so that's kind of funny. I'm sure those guys will joke around about that. In 2018, Julian Love had 16 pass breakups, 63 total tackles, 1 interception, and 3 fumble recoveries. He had a ridiculous fumble recovery in one game. I saw his highlights. I put it in the video that I released yesterday, but it was amazing. It looked like the guy on the offense basically had a touchdown, and then Julian Love just swarmed out of nowhere and just took the ball from him for a touchback. So that was pretty cool. You guys will see it when I put the video in here, but I have no idea where it will be at. But overall, I love this pick. The Giants needed a slot corner. A lot of people were fans of Grant Haley. I am as well, but I wasn't too comfortable going into the season with Grant Haley as my only slot corner, so I think adding depth there is pretty big, and I expect Julian Love to be our starting slot corner once the season rolls around. Very exciting pick. He just has great technique, and I love it. I give this pick an A. I could even say A+. Screw it. Why not? Maybe an A or an A+. It was just a fantastic pick. Awesome value at 108. I was surprised he was still there. But yeah, I love this. Great pick by Mr. Gettleman, 108. For pick 143, the Giants went linebacker Ryan Connelly from Wisconsin. I called him the next Mark Herslick on Twitter. Someone said Chase Blackburn. I like that a lot more. That's actually a very much better comparison, honestly. I like that more than Mark Herslick. He's 6'2", 245 pounds. He's a good story. Had to work his way up on the depth chart to earn playing time. In 2017, he had 88 tackles, 11 for a loss, 3 sacks, and 1 interception. In 2018, he had 89 tackles, 10 for a loss, 3 sacks, 1 interception. Those are almost identical stats for 2 seasons. That's actually very impressive. Very consistent guy, Ryan Connelly. You can tell right from those 2 stats right there. Most likely a special teams player who can fill in for B.J. Goodson or Alec Ogletree if one of them were to go down. We have that other linebacker. I forget his name. Maybe Tay Davis. Is that his name? Let me look in the depth chart real quick. Tay Davis sounds very familiar. Yes, Tay Davis it is. So yeah, I mean, if there's an injury, it's either Tay Davis or Ryan Connelly to fill in at linebacker. So I don't think this is a high upside pick. We kind of know what Connelly's going to be. He's limited because of athletic reasons and stuff like that. But he looks like a solid pro. He's better than I thought he would be when I watched him play. Definitely knows how to shoot through the gap. He's very quick. I wouldn't call him fast, but he's quick. His acceleration's really good. Quick player, can get to the ball. But overall, I would give this pick a C+. A lot of people thought there were better picks on the board, talent-wise, at this point. But I'm assuming Dave Gettleman had this guy circled and really wanted him, so took Ryan Connelly. If he's a good special team player for us, then fine. Making tackles on kickoffs and punts and stuff like that. That's all good with me. Maybe one day he'll be an NFL starter. I'm not counting on it, but if injuries happen and he gets his shot, then he'll have a shot to prove to us that he is a starter. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a boring pick, not going to lie, but I do wish him the best, and hopefully he has a nice, long Giants career. Most of us speculated the Giants would take a wide receiver in this draft, and the Giants did so at pick 171, taking Darius Slayton, wide receiver from Auburn. He's at 6'1", 190 pounds, ran a 4.3940. Pretty damn good. State sprinting champion in high school for 100 and 200 meter dashes. I almost said meter yards. Oh my god, that would make no sense. His Auburn career is 79 catches, over 1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns. So that is over 3 seasons. That's not one season. If that was one season, I expect him to be a first round pick. He adds a big play receiver and can take the top off of defense with his speed. So he's a guy. He's got to keep safeties honest. I mean, guys like Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate, they're not going to blow you away with speed. They're more possession receivers. But a guy like this and Darius Slayton can definitely take the top off of defense, and the Giants absolutely needed that, so I like that for need. He has to earn his wide receiver 3 spot. The Giants do have quite a few guys, to say the least, that can play wide receiver 3 for this team. He has to He has to outplay Corey Coleman, who a lot of Giants fans like, Cody Latimer, who a lot of Giants fans like, and Benny Fowler, who I don't know if Giants fans like, but he's there anyway. I think Russell Shepard's there as well, so he basically has to get through 3 or 4 guys to become the wide receiver 3 for this team, but I like his chances. He's a very talented guy. I do hope they give him a fair shot, especially if the Giants are, in the second half of the season. If this season is a lost season, I expect him to play a lot more, hopefully, and see what he's got in the tank. But yeah, it's an exciting pick. Anytime you pick a wide receiver who makes the kind of plays and has the playmaking ability that Darius Slayton has, it's an exciting pick, and I hope he puts it all together and becomes a consistent pro. I have no idea what a pro comp for him would be. Maybe he's the next Ted Ginn. I have no idea, but we'll see what happens with him. But it's a need, and it's a good pick, so I would give Dave Gettleman a B for that pick. At pick number 180, the Giants went cornerback again. I think that's their 3rd cornerback of this draft. It was Corey Ballentine, or Ballentine. I say Ballentine, so let's go with that. Cornerback from Washburn. Never heard of Washburn, honestly. I'm sure a lot of you know a story came out this morning where he was shot. His friend was shot and killed that was on the football team, so that's a terrible situation. Ballentine is expected to make a full recovery, so that's great news for him, but it's a shame that his friend passed away from that. I have no idea what caused it and stuff like that, and some morons on Twitter, I swear, were like blaming Gettleman for this guy getting shot. Like, are you serious? Like, I'm the first guy to criticize Dave Gettleman, but if you have the audacity to come after him for one of his draft picks getting shot, hey, what the hell are you doing? That just makes no sense to me. But anyway, let's get into Ballentine as a player. 5'11", 196, ran a 4.47 40. He's a terrific athlete, great kick returner, and kick blocker. I'll get into that later. He's a potential gunner on special teams, and gunners the guys that run down the punts when you're punting, obviously. He went under the radar in high school because he played football for only 2 seasons. He's a high-character guy, according to his scouting report. He was invited to the Senior Bowl out of a small school, which is kind of rare, so that's cool for him. In 2018, he had 50 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 blocked kicks. I have no idea how you block 3 kicks in a season. You'll be lucky if you get 1 most of the time. This man happened to get 3. He wasn't playing great competition, but either way, that's very impressive. So yeah, he's a small school guy, very talented, a terrific athlete, as I said. I would give Gettleman a B+ for this pick. I like the value, and I just think he's an awesome athlete. And if he puts it all together, an awesome athlete can mean a great football player. So I like it. Good pick, Mr. Dave Gettleman, once again. At pick number 232, the Giants went with a right tackle, the first time they addressed offensive line in this draft. It's a name that I'm probably not going to pronounce correctly, but let's go for it. George A Sappho Ajay. I don't want to say Ajayi because Ajayi is spelled Ajay. So I'm going to go with a J. A Sappho with J. He's 6'5", 315 pounds, played right tackle for Kentucky last year, as I said before. Started the last 2 seasons at Kentucky. I honestly only watched 1 game of his every snap, and he looked pretty good. I was impressed. He seems to be a guy who plays until the whistle, which I like. Not afraid to put you into the ground, and he has a blast blocking in the secondary. He's the type of guy who likes to get out to the secondary and just pummel those little guys, whether it's the secondary or the linebackers. So yeah, I like him as a prospect. I have no idea what he's going to be in the NFL. He will definitely have a shot to compete with Chad Wheeler. But in all honesty, I expect the Giants to somehow take a shot on a right tackle that's on the free agent list and that's been cut by an NFL team already. There are a few guys out there. I think Mike Remmers is out there. They have Ryan Schrader out there. And they have old-ass Donald Penn out there. I don't think he's retired yet, but he's still out there on the free agent list. I'm a big Ryan Schrader fan, honestly. That guy was one of the better right tackles in football from like 2014 to 2016. Then he fell off. I have no idea why. I got to look into that more. But that's up for the Giants to decide, obviously. But I do think they'll take someone at right tackle because I don't think they're going to roll into the season with Chad Wheeler and George A Sappho Ajay in week 1. I think they're going to try and sign a veteran right tackle and see what's happening there. So I have no clue who it's going to be. I gave you 3 names, but there are a lot of guys out there. I actually tweeted it the other day, a list of players. And so if you saw that, then you have an idea. But if not, then I guess you can look it up or just wait to see who the Giants sign because I have a strong feeling they'll sign somebody at right tackle at some point before the season starts. And the last pick for the Giants, number 245, a defensive tackle from Syracuse who goes by Chris Slaton. No relation to Darius Slayton. Maybe. I have no idea. The Giants took 2 Slaytons in this draft. I just wanted to make a joke out of it. So he's 6'4", 307 pounds. He's kind of like that Rashawn Gary type not athlete. Wow, I don't know where I was going with that one. He's like a Rashawn Gary type of player where his ability and his talent didn't really match the numbers. That was the problem a lot of people have with Rashawn Gary, is that he was very talented, but his numbers were not that good. And that's kind of the same thing with Chris Slaton. Not to say that he is Rashawn Gary, because he's certainly not, but it's kind of the same situation. He should have had better numbers, honestly. So I really have not watched much of him at all. I only watched like the 2-minute video that the Giants posted about him. I did not watch any game tape on this man whatsoever, so I am in no position to make any kind of comment or judgment, because I don't want to feed you guys some nonsense. I'm not going to talk about that. So let's forget about Chris Slaton. I don't know where he's going to fit in on this team. They already have some solid guys on the defensive line. They also have R.J. McIntosh, who I forgot about. So I mean, I don't know where this guy's gonna fit in, but he'll be on the team most likely. But we will see what happens in training camp. So that'll round it out. I mean, this draft started out very, very, very bad. It took me a while to get used to, because I was very thrown off by Daniel Jones. As much as people wanted to say it and as much as people wanted to joke around about it, I really didn't think we were going to take Daniel Jones. But I'll tell you what, the last couple of days, I've been like kind of getting used to it, and I'm starting to like it. I'm not going to say I love Daniel Jones, but I'm getting used to it, and I'm going to give it a chance. We have not seen the man throw a ball in the NFL yet. As I said, we can only go off college tape, and sometimes you see players that have amazing college tape, and they're terrible NFL players, and sometimes you have guys that are average in college, and they're terrific NFL players. It really, it's funny how this stuff works, but it's just how it goes, and that's just the beauty of drafting, because you don't know what someone's going to be. I hope that me and a lot of other Giants fans are wrong about Daniel Jones. There are things to like about him. I named them before. And I really hope that he becomes our franchise quarterback. So there will be plenty of other videos about the Giants coming out, obviously. I have to do like their depth chart, and probably in August or so I'll do like a record prediction, but I'm sure there's going to be tons of other videos. If you guys want me to do certain videos, give me ideas. I actually got a comment that was a good idea of like what the Giants draft could have been, knowing what happened in the draft already. So, what could have been an alternative draft for the Giants. I might do a video about that as well, because that'll certainly be interesting. But yeah, if you have ideas, just let me know. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys next time.